All right, shalom, shalom. I'm gonna get straight into it. Got a lot to get to on this one. We're gonna get into this concept of what our people still believe that it's a place called hell, and this image of the so-called devil, or Satan, however you want to put it. But let's deal with this. This concept of hell is a false teaching. All right, the so-called white man created this doctrine to bring fear so he can control you. All right, now people are still under the captivity of the so-called white man mentally with his plantation Christianity. So let's get into this whole lesson. But this is what our people have in their imagination, their mind of Satan, right? Which they don't question what his image comes from. They just roll with it, right? So I'm gonna break it down to you so you can understand the origin of this image, and this is nothing new. This actually comes from Greek mythology. And then it was passed to Roman mythology. And the Greeks and the Romans were Edomites. Now we in a revised Roman Empire, with those same deities is being erected when the so-called white man came back into power around the 1400s. So let's get into this lesson. But right here is what's sitting in our people imagination. So let me hit this first scripture. We get into a lot of stuff. Colossians 2, 1 and 26. It says, even the mystery, Salakia, the mystery which have been hid from ages and from generations. So there's many mysteries that have been hid from our people, and our people still believe, the masses of our people believe, if you don't believe in so-called Jesus, your spirit, you're gonna be banished to this underworld called hell. And then hell is a creation. It don't exist, man. It's nothing but a cunningly devised fable. It's a lie that was created to put fear on you so they can control you and keep you in bondage to Christianity. It says even the mystery which have been hid from ages, from generations. So it's a lot of mysteries was hidden from us when we was in that dead state. We have came back to life. But now it's made manifest. What does manifest mean? They made obvious or clear to you so you can know what's going on. So you can have clarity to his saints, starting at the prophets, the men of the Lord, and the elect of the nation of Israel. So let's go deal with this concept of hell, right? Let's go here. Be hitting a lot of information. Salakia. Let's go here, Salakia. And I want you to pay attention to this. Let me cut this off. All right. So I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to read. This very important information. It says the final Old Testament era influence upon Jewish, which you Israelites, Jewish thinking about the devil was that of the Greeks. Did you hear this? Read this again. It said the final Old Testament era influence upon Jewish thinking about the devil was that of the Greeks, which would be the so-called white man, the Edomites. So they influenced our people like they do today. Is nothing new under the sun. Back then, and they doing it again now with this concept of hell, and that's a stronghold that's on a lot of people's mind. Even if once I break this lesson down, there's still gonna be some of our people that just don't get it. Because why? They are not of the elect. They don't have an analytical mind. Let me get into this. It says their idea that there was Tatar as a place of darkness under the earth for the wickedest, and the asphodel fields a kind of purgatory. And that purgatory concept is pushed in the Roman Catholic Church, which the mother of all these Christian religions, whether it be Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, Baptist, Seventh-day Adventist, you go down the list. The mother is the Roman Catholic Church. You had something that they had a split called a Protestant. That's why you have to be more studious so you can understand these intricate parts, so you can understand the truth in depthness. It says in the Elysium fields a kind of heaven. So there you go. For the righteous was picked up by Judaism. So our people picked these things up back then because they had been Hellenized. All right. The New Testament was written in Greek. And some parts of the New Testament was written in Hebrew, the first 4 books, I believe. But the New Testament was written in Greek. What happened during that? Okay. Prior to that, our people had been Hellenized. That's how you got the book of Maccabees. You can read the whole book of Maccabees to understand that how we got Hellenized, we had taken on Greek names, Greek customs. A lot of our people had not, they was Israelites, but they didn't associate themselves as being Israelites. They was calling themselves Greeks. All right, they was believing in all these myths and all these lies back then like they do today. There's nothing new under the sun. So let's go here. I want you to key in on this. Listen. It says the devil at the dawn of Christianity bore little resemblance to the ruler of hell. You hear this? So this was a creation. This was all made up. Let's go here. I'm going to jump down to the important part. It says the Christian story of the devil is heavily influenced by earlier Greek mythology. That's heavy. Read this again so it can marinate. The Christian story of the devil is heavily influenced by earlier Greek mythology. So that devil influence of Greek mythology comes with that Greek mythology of what our people know as hell today, which is nothing but a lie. It's all a creation, a figment of the so-called white man imagination. Let's get more into this. It says that early Christian writings about the devil co-opted local mythological in order to gain new converts and discredit popular pagan beliefs. It says in the Old Testament story of Job, Satan is one of God's angels. So exactly, you got it right. Satan was a creation of the Most High. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah. Satan was created to do the left hand bidding of the Father and the Son, right? He works for the Most High. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah. And he never rebelled against the Most High. Why would the Most High create something that can rebel against him? It don't make logical sense. But that's the story that they made up in Christianity. But where they get this from? Right here. It says, in order to become the Satan of evil, he must fall from grace, God's grace, and vacate his position in his court. It says Greek mythology told the story of an epic battle in heaven between Zeus, god of heaven, and Typhon, the most fearsome of the giants with 100 dragon heads, calling serpents for legs, hundreds of hands. It says Zeus succeeded in casting Typhon out of heaven forever. So that's where they get that concept that Satan was cast out of heaven with 1/3 of the angels from Greek mythology. I'm gonna read this. I want you to pay attention. It says Typhon out of heaven forever, and the beast is said verbally to either be destroyed in Mount Etna or banished to Tartarus, the deepest level of the underworld. It says in Revelations 12:7, and you Christians don't have no understanding what this scripture means. You take it literal. You don't know how to separate what's literal, what's parabolic, what's metaphorically speaking, what's a dark saying. You don't have no understanding. So you take this Revelations 12 out of context when it said Michael and his angels fight Satan. What it's talking about is the chariots. Yahweh Shah is going to come back with chariots, so-called UFOs, and fight Satan, the so-called white man system. Satan sometimes can be referred to as a man and the so-called white man in some cases. It's not always talking about the spiritual demon Satan. And that's what you Christians do. You think anytime you see the word Satan or the devil it's always talking about the spiritual demon Satan. That's not the truth. And you don't have to go to show you have no understanding at all. Let's go here. And this is that depiction that you devils created, but you got all this from Greek mythology. It says right here, Salakia, it says the Bible doesn't describe the devil in detail. So if the scriptures don't describe the devil, where did they get this from? Greek mythology. Then it got passed on to Roman mythology. Then the Renaissance, when these devils came back into power, when they resubmerged these teachings, man. It says early artistic interpretations of the Divine Comedy featuring shocking images of the devil and his demons inflicting almost unimaginable human suffering. That's another thing that keep you people in fear, because these images were stored in your mind, and they created this to cause confusion and to keep you in fear. But that's something called Dante's Inferno. Look that up. It'll be your homework assignment. How these devils created these 7 levels of hell. This all kind of madness, man. In hell, if you look the word up, Hell is just a condition, or it means the grave. That's all the word means. All right. It says by the end of the Middle Ages, the devil had taken on the appearance of the horned, triton, wielding figure with hooves for feet and a long tail, in an image that has endured to modern times. So that's this imagery that they created right here. But where they get these images, the image from? I'm gonna show you. And this image comes with a concept of hell. It's one and the same. It's like attached together. So let me show you this. This is Poseidon, all right, in Greek mythology. And then you got a so-called Greek god called Hades, Salakia. Let me let this load up. All right, see right here. What that's called is a triton. But you got the two-pronged one that's called a biton. All right, so that's what so-called Satan is holding, but that comes from Greek mythology. They go that same, instrument right there. They hold it in his hand. No one question this. All right, and you can see right here. You see what it is. That's what our people imagine, and they got something called a bitant, Salakia. Right here, right here. They go your Greek mythology, and it says biting is a two-pronged implement resembling a pitchfork. There you go. So that's why they draw Satan, so-called, with a pitchfork. It says in Greek mythology, the biting is a weapon associated with Hades, Pluto, the ruler of the underworld. There you go. All right, and it said likewise the three-pronged trident as implement of his brother Poseidon, Neptune, god of the seas and earthquakes. There you go, man. It's all right there. The truth is coming out. So where do they get these horns and all that from? Let me show you something. They got something called the Greek so-called god Pan right here. So that's how they got, the Satan, the hooves and the horns, you know what I'm saying? All right, you see it? You see it. And you see how these devils get down right here. You see that, right? So let me show you something. Let's go back here. But you see that, right? They go to horns, right? You seeing the same imagery. They go to horns, the wings, the triton. All right, that was the Greek god Pan that they infused inside of this image. 1 second. All right, so this, I'm gonna read this real quick. It said the hell of Tartarus, ancient Greek prison of the damned. So there you go. There go that concept, the imagery of so-called hell. All the creation. It says Tartarus, the infernal abyss of the Greek mythology. There you go, infernal. That's where you get the image of burning spirits, souls, whatever, which is used as a pit of suffering for the wicked and as a dungeon for the titans. It is also known of a deity, the primordial being that existed before the Olympian gods, their predecessors, the titans. It says the concept of Tartarus as a place is much better known than the deity. Initially, Tartarus was imagined as a great Salakia, was imagined as a great pit beneath the earth, but it was later reimagined as a type of hell, where those who committed heinous crimes were punished. There you go. Let me get into this scripture here. I'm gonna shut it down. I'm running out of time. And you're gonna see this word hell here, but it's talking about a condition, and hell could mean the grave. This is the book of Jonah 2:1. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord Yahweh, his power out of the fish's belly. So he's in the belly of a fish. Salakia. And said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord Yahweh, and he heard me out of the belly of hell. He was in a fish's belly. He wasn't in an underground subterranean place called hell. Cried I, and thou heardest my voice. Call Hala Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Shem Rakakwadash.